Imagine waking up in the middle of the night, your body completely still, yet you feel something strange, an undeniable sensation of floating. You glance down and see yourself, your physical form, lying in bed, motionless. Panic surges through you. Are you dreaming, or have you actually separated from your body? For centuries, stories have emerged of people experiencing what they describe as astral projection, the feeling of stepping outside themselves, free to explore places beyond the limits of the physical world. Some claim to have drifted above their own sleeping bodies, while others report traveling vast distances, encountering landscapes they've never seen before. But is there any science to this, or is it just an illusion of the mind? One groundbreaking insight challenges what we think we know about consciousness. Your sense of self is not as locked to your body as you believe. Neuroscientists studying out-of-body experiences have discovered that the brain creates a detailed map of where you are at all times. This internal sense of location isn't fixed. It can be tricked, manipulated, even shifted entirely. The brain, relying on sensory input, accepts this illusion without question. But what if, under the right conditions, this shift could happen spontaneously? During deep states of meditation, sleep paralysis, or near-death experiences, the brain enters unusual patterns of activity. Regions linked to self-awareness and spatial perception begin to decouple, leading to a vivid sense of separation from the body. Some researchers propose that the mind, freed from its usual sensory constraints, constructs a reality where movement beyond the physical is not only possible but deeply convincing. Could it be that astral projection is a natural glitch in how we experience reality? One that hints at something far stranger about the nature of consciousness itself? It starts as a trick of the mind, a glitch in the brain's internal map of reality. But what if it doesn't stop there? Picture this. You close your eyes for just a moment. The room around you fades, but you can still feel it. The space, the objects, the distance between you and the walls. It's not sight or sound. It's something deeper. Now imagine that sense stretching further, beyond the room, beyond the building. What if the mind can project this feeling outward, untethered from the body itself? Scientists studying consciousness have stumbled upon something astonishing. Your brain may be able to simulate reality so vividly that it feels indistinguishable from the real world. Brain scans show that during intense visualization, regions responsible for processing sensory input become just as active as when you're actually seeing or feeling something. In other words, when you vividly picture walking through your home, your brain reacts as though you're truly moving through it. But here's where things get stranger. Some people report these experiences happening without intention. They describe floating through familiar spaces or even distant locations they've never visited, returning with eerily accurate details. What's going on? One theory suggests that in deeply altered states, like sleep paralysis or deep meditation, your brain taps into a state known as hypnagogia, where the lines between dreaming and waking blur. In this liminal space, your mind isn't bound by the rules of physical reality. Sensory information is processed differently, allowing vivid, lifelike experiences that feel undeniably real. But could it go even further than that? Quantum physicists and neuroscientists alike have begun exploring an even more mind-bending possibility. Consciousness might be non-local. In simple terms, this means that awareness could exist beyond the confines of the brain, more like a signal than a self-contained object. If true, this could explain why so many people share strikingly similar accounts of floating beyond their bodies, traveling to distant places, or feeling an overwhelming sense of interconnectedness. But how could something as intangible as consciousness extend beyond your skull? Think of it like tuning into a radio station. The radio itself isn't the music, it's just the receiver. If your brain works the same way, perhaps astral projection is simply what happens when the dial is turned just slightly off the usual frequency, allowing you to tune in to something larger than yourself. And here's the key idea that changes everything. Reality is not just what you sense, it's what your brain constructs. If consciousness is flexible enough to step outside the boundaries of the body, even temporarily, it forces us to rethink our most basic assumptions about what it means to exist. Are you a body with a mind inside, or something far more expansive? If reality is something your brain constructs, then where does it end? Picture this. You're lying in bed, eyes closed, but something feels off. The room hums with an electric stillness. You try to move, nothing. A wave of calm washes over you, followed by a strange lightness. You rise effortlessly, weightless, yet you're still there in bed. Two versions of you, two perspectives, one body, one mind. This isn't just the stuff of dreams. For thousands of people, this sensation is as real as waking life. But how could your brain create something so vivid, so impossibly detailed without physical senses to guide it? The answer may lie in one of the most astonishing theories in modern science. Your consciousness may exist in more than one place at once. In neuroscience, there's something known as the default mode network, the part of the brain that keeps track of who you are and where you are in the world. It's the silent background hum behind your thoughts. But under altered states, whether through meditation, sensory deprivation, or sleep paralysis, this system becomes disrupted. Brain scans show that when this happens, multiple areas linked to memory, imagination, and spatial awareness light up at the same time. In other words, your brain starts processing multiple realities simultaneously. But why does this feel so real? Here's where things get even stranger. Studies on lucid dreamers, people who can control their dreams, show that the brain treats imagined experiences almost identically to real ones. The regions that process touch, sight, and sound become just as active as when those senses are triggered in waking life. And here's the twist. People who experience astral projection describe the same patterns. Their brains seem to behave as though they are physically moving through another space. This brings us to a key idea that flips our understanding of reality on its head. The mind doesn't just perceive reality, it generates it. If your brain is capable of simulating a full sensory experience without any input from the outside world, who's to say where reality actually begins and ends? Some scientists speculate that astral projection could be the mind's way of exploring a self-generated reality, a kind of internal universe that feels no less real than the physical one. But there's another possibility lurking beneath the surface. Quantum biology, a cutting-edge field that explores how quantum mechanics operates within living systems, suggests that consciousness itself may be a quantum phenomenon. In quantum physics, particles can exist in multiple states at once, only settling into a single reality when observed. What if the mind works the same way? Think of it like standing in a hall of mirrors. You see infinite versions of yourself stretching out in every direction, each slightly different. But which one is the real you? What if they all are? Astral projection, in this view, could be your brain's way of slipping between these overlapping realities. When the usual rules of perception loosen, your mind might not just be inventing new worlds, it could be visiting them. This leaves us with a haunting question. Are we truly bound to our bodies, or is the body just the starting point? If consciousness can exist beyond the confines of flesh and bone, then perhaps leaving your body isn't a glitch or a hallucination. Maybe it's something far more extraordinary, a glimpse of the boundless nature of reality itself. What if the boundaries of reality aren't just flexible? They never really existed at all. You open your eyes, but something is different. The world feels sharper, more vivid, colors seem richer, sounds carry a strange clarity. But there's something else, a pull. You turn, and there it is, your body, lying peacefully in bed. You're fully awake, yet not where you're supposed to be. It doesn't feel like a dream. It feels realer than reality. As impossible as it sounds, thousands of people describe experiences just like this. Moments where they seem to separate from their bodies, moving through space with a weightless ease. And while skeptics often dismiss it as a trick of the brain, emerging science suggests there may be something far more profound at play. Here's where things take a fascinating turn. Consciousness may not be trapped inside your head. It might be connected to the fabric of reality itself. For decades, researchers studying near-death experiences, meditation, and altered states have uncovered a startling pattern. People consistently report a sense of merging with something larger, as if their consciousness is expanding beyond the body. But how could this be possible? To understand this, consider how your brain processes reality. It doesn't give you a raw feed of the world. It builds a model. Every second, your senses gather information, but it's not complete. Your brain fills in the gaps, weaving a seamless picture that feels solid and continuous. But what happens when that model glitches? Under extreme conditions like deep meditation or moments of trauma, the brain enters a hypersynchronized state. Brain waves begin to line up, creating a powerful sense of unity. In these moments, the usual boundaries that separate you from the outside world may dissolve. Neuroscientists call this dissolution of the ego, but some physicists think there might be more to it. Enter the concept of panpsychism, the idea that consciousness could be a fundamental property of the universe, like space or time. If that's true, your mind might not be producing consciousness at all. Instead, it could be receiving it, like a radio picking up a signal. Think about it like the Wi-Fi in your home. Your phone isn't the internet. it just accesses it. If your brain works the same way, then perhaps astral projection isn't about leaving your body. Maybe it's about tuning into a broader, ever-present field of consciousness that exists everywhere. And there's a strange twist. In experiments where people report out-of-body experiences under controlled conditions, some have been able to describe hidden objects or distant locations with eerie accuracy. Could this be evidence of consciousness extending beyond the body, or is it just an elaborate trick of memory and perception? Scientists still don't know, but this leads us to another key idea that changes the game entirely. Your sense of self might be a boundary your brain creates for survival, not a reflection of reality. If that boundary is lifted, even for a moment, what might you discover? Some believe this is why astral projection feels so profound. It offers a glimpse into a reality where you are not a single point in space, but part of something much larger. So, can you really leave your body, or is the body just one layer of an infinite, interconnected reality? If the boundaries that hold you in place are just an illusion, then what are you really? You float effortlessly, weightless in a space that feels infinite. There's no sense of time, no clear direction, just awareness. You're not dreaming. You're awake, more awake than you've ever been. Thoughts move like ripples through water. You think about a place and you're there. You think about someone you know and you feel them. It's as if space itself has softened, bending to your mind. But the strangest part, it all feels completely natural, as if this is how reality has always worked, and you're just now remembering. This is the final piece of the puzzle, the point where cutting-edge science collides with the deepest mysteries of consciousness. What if astral projection isn't about leaving your body at all? What if you were never fully inside it to begin with? In recent studies on perception, researchers have discovered something astonishing. Your brain doesn't just create a sense of self, it predicts reality before you experience it. Every moment you're awake, your mind runs a simulation, guessing what will happen next based on past experience. This helps you move through the world smoothly, reacting faster than real-time input would allow. But here's the catch. If reality is something your brain predicts rather than passively receives, then it's not as fixed as it seems. This predictive system is so powerful that under the right conditions, like sleep paralysis, deep meditation, or near-death experiences, it may break its usual limits. Instead of simulating the space around your body, it could expand outward, creating the experience of being somewhere else entirely. But what if, in doing so, it's not just simulating, it's connecting? Quantum entanglement offers a bizarre but tantalizing parallel. In the quantum world, two particles can become linked so that what happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. Some researchers have begun to wonder, could consciousness work the same way? Think about it like this. Your body is like a single node in an enormous web. Most of the time, you only feel what happens at your node. But under the right conditions, you might sense the vibrations running through the entire web. That could explain why people having out-of-body experiences often report a profound sense of unity with the world around them. It's not just an illusion, it's a shift in perspective. And here's the final key idea that changes everything. Consciousness may be a field, not a place. If this is true, astral projection isn't about leaving your body. It's about realizing that your body is just one point of focus in a vast, interconnected network. What feels like traveling somewhere else might be the experience of tuning into a deeper layer of reality, one that's always been there, hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. Think of it like standing on the edge of the ocean. Most days you only see the waves crashing at your feet. But every now and then, the water becomes perfectly still, and you realize there's an entire world beneath it. So can you really leave your body? Or have you been connected to something far greater all along? Perhaps the question isn't whether you can step outside yourself, but whether you ever truly had edges to begin with. What if reality is bigger than you think, and you've been living in only one tiny corner of it?